Good afternoon, guys. Give me a second here to get the Instagram up and running here. All right, we're up and live on Instagram and YouTube. So, once again, I am surprising you and not at my 7 o'clock hour like I promised. Um, Life gets in the way. I have to run and get one child from a camping trip a few hours away and get back tonight for my son who has a baseball game. So we are going early this afternoon instead. We're going to start with some hobby news updates, that kind of thing. What we're going to start with is some breaking news here today. We're going to add this to the thing. All right. So what this is, Fanatics announced today. Finally, they announced they'd been hinting about the fact that PWC was going away and they were going to come up with something new. They announced today that they are teaming up with Sotheby's, which is a very high end auction. They're going to be teaming up with Sotheby's to list cards that are over $100,000. Now, I don't know as though any of my listeners or audience dabbles in the $100,000 or plus cards, but that is what they are doing. And then they are going to be recreating PWCC as a marketplace called Fanatics Collect. It's going to be rolled out here through the rest of the year. You can read the article if you go in and search. But there's a couple of things I wanted to bring to your attention. So, Fanatics Collect Division is going to be replacing PWCC. The platform will launch with a reimagined fixed price marketplace, which tells me that they're going to be going, kind of competing after the eBay business with fixed prices. In addition to the weekly and monthly auctions that we've come accustomed to with PWCC. So they're pretty much just rebranding it as what it's going to be. However, later this year, Fanatics Collect also will introduce a range of new updates, including peer-to-peer trading. So that is something new that will be interesting to see how they roll out peer-to-peer trading. There are a couple of websites out there right now for that. I have not tried any of them yet, but I find it intriguing. I'm sure there'll be a small fee associated with it, and they'll verify that the cards that you trade actually show up, as well as AI-powered concierge services. I'm not sure what that's going to include, but I can imagine that they're going to incorporate AI into probably like a live chat to help you with anything from listing your cards to answering your questions, is my guess. They're also going to introduce card scanning and digital collectibles. So apparently digital collectibles are going to try and make a comeback. I thought those were kind of dead, but they are going to do all of that. So I thought that was kind of interesting, and I wanted to share that with everybody, just so everybody is aware of it. Let's see here. Stop screen. The next thing I want to do is give you guys an update. I had a few people ask me whatever happened to the Kraken submit that you did with the Wayne Gretzky. If you remember, I had an SGC 6 that I purchased, and I cracked it out and I sent it into PSA. Here is the card. It came back a PSA 5, and I went ahead and sold that card already. So I wanted to give you guys an update on that, just so you guys know that not everything I do makes money. That if you remember, I bought that card for $1,000. I cracked it out. I sent it in. It got a 5. And I sold it for $1,000. So I was out my grading fees and my eBay fees. So I lost about $125 on that play. The other play that I did with the Wayne Gretzky, if you guys remember, was I cracked out a OPC Gretzky rookie, and that was from BVG. It was a BVG 5.5. On my Instagram page, I showed you guys how it had a bunch of wax on it. So I cleaned the wax off, and I was very excited because I thought this had a real solid chance at maybe even jumping up to a 6.5 or a 7. I sent it into PSA, and it came back altered. Not anything wrong with it, but too small to grade. So I got it back. I measured it against another one, and I thought, this just doesn't make any sense. It looks to be the exact size as the other one that they graded. So I sent it back to PSA a second time. I've had success doing that, and sometimes the next grader will look at it and grade it. And that card came back a second time, too small to grade. So I was out grading fees twice on that. So I sent it to SGC thinking, well, let's just get another opinion. SGC also said the card was too small. So apparently I don't know what I'm missing, because when I hold it up and I measure it, I don't have a digital measurement tool. So it must be off just like a thousandth of an inch or something, too small for the naked eye. But they at least did slab it authentic. So I did get the card back in authentic. So that card is probably going to lose me $100 or $200 as well. So not everything comes out as planned. I did get these cards back from PWCC. You guys probably saw them on my Instagram page. I do plan on cracking these out and sending these in. This is the Yogi Berra CSG 4.5 and the Larry Bird 1981 CSG 8. Both of those are getting cracked out and sent in. I'm not going to bore you by cracking them out on camera. I want to get into some plays that can maybe help make you some money. So the plays this week, last night, if you saw my post, and a few of you did, because some of you have been razzing me a little bit, Carlos Alcaraz, which I always referred to as Alcatraz. That is a card that about a year ago, Lefty was buying when he had a lot of hype around him. And I stayed away from that play. I wasn't that interested in it. But I started looking at the end of July. Not only is the National, it is also the start of the Summer Olympics. So I wanted to give you guys a few ideas and a few plays that you can make if you were interested in going after some Olympics. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do this, and I thought it was something nobody else is tackling right now. So I thought, why not? Let's do this. So if you're not interested in Olympics plays, you can tune out now and come back next week. If you're interested, stick around and maybe try some of these out and see if any of them are your cup of tea. So I started with a couple of players that or a couple of names that were bigger names that I thought might be plays that would be kind of fun to go after. One was Kate Douglas, swimmer, U.S. swimmer, very decorated. She has no cards, nothing but the made up cards, nothing any good. Rebecca Andre, she's a gymnast. She has no cards. And then I started, the more I looked at some of these players that I'm interested in, they don't have any cards. So I thought, what type of plays can I make if they don't have any cards? So I went through and I listed what I thought to be probably 25 or 30 of the biggest names that you're going to see hyped at the Olympics. And then I went through and looked to see what cards they had and if any of them had any cards that you could make some money on. And what I found is there are about 15 of them that have cards that you can make plays on. One of those plays is there will be tennis at the Olympics. So I purchased this last night. It's the 2022 Net Pro Carlos Alcaraz. It's card number 1. I did the green shirt. There's a green shirt and a red shirt variation. They come numbered to 5, 100, 500, and 2,000 from what I could see. I went after the ones that were numbered to 2,000 for a couple of reasons. When I did the math on the lower serial numbered ones, there wasn't any money to be made there. So it was all performance based. If I'd have bought that card, he would have had to have done something spectacular for his cards to go up to where we could make money. I don't like having to rely on performance. I like being able to rely on the grading to get this done. Welcome in Cooney Cards, Card Professor. Welcome in Mark from Mad Cards. So the card that I bought was the 2022 Net Pro Carlos Alcaraz, card number 1, green shirt, serial numbered to 2,000. There are only 200 of these cards graded at PSA. I purchased mine raw for $100. In a PSA 9, the card goes for $155. So I can send this card in at that $16 special with grading and shipping and everything else. I'm going to be in this card for about $120. PSA 9s are $155, so I'm going to turn a small profit even at a PSA 9. That's why I picked this card. PSA 9s do come at about a 57% gem rate. So 114 of the 200 cards graded so far were PSA 9s. So I am expecting that I am going to get a 9 or a 10. I bought one that was still sealed from the factory. I am going to mail it into PSA in the sealed one touch. I think that will sometimes give you a little bit of an advantage if the grader knows that this card's never been touched by the human hands. However, if this card gets a PSA 10, it jumps all the way up to $509. So I can get a 5X my money. It's a 24% gem rate, 48 out of the 200 cards. So it's about 1 in 4. Knowing that I can make money on a PSA 9, I thought this is the card I wanted to buy. And that's why I bought the Alcaraz card, not because I'm buying into the hype. Mark had mentioned to me that Lefty was mentioning he was selling his. Lefty, I believe, bought the serial number to 500 last year. He hung on to it, I think, way too long. And whether he makes money or not, I don't know. But I can tell you that if you can get this card for around $100 and get it graded, if it's a 9 or higher, you're going to make money. So that's one way that you can play. The red shirt to 2,000 is a little more popular. It's 272 cards graded by PSA, so 72 cards more, about 1/3 or 33% more than the green. They're a little bit cheaper because they're a little bit more readily available. The last card raw sold for $84. I paid $100 for mine in green. This red shirt, the most recent sale, was $84. They also are considerably cheaper on the graded cards. The PSA 9 graded sells for $87, and the PSA 10 sells for $405. That is why I chose the green. If you go with the PSA 9, or if you go with the red and you get a PSA 9, you're out your shipping fees or your grading fees and your shipping. If you get a PSA 10, it's a 4X your money instead of a 5X. So I'm all about the numbers. That is why I went with the green shirt. I would recommend that you do the same as me and go after the green shirt. But if you can't and you want to just make a play, the red shirt is a viable option. Just know that if you get a 9, you're going to be losing a little bit of money. Sticking with tennis, Coco Gauff. Coco Gauff is one of the top United States female tennis players. The card to go after there is her 2021 Topps Chrome Refractor. In raw, this card sells for only $5. So this is a very low investment play. $5 raw, $16 to grade. You got $22, $23 in it with shipping and grading fees. A PSA 9 sells for $18, so you're going to lose $5 plus your eBay fee, so you're probably out $10 if you get a 9. However, if you get a 10, it's a $100 card, so you 4x your money. There are not many. There are only 45 of these graded at PSA, so this is a very low population card. So there's not a lot of data to go by. The PSA 10s are only 11% gem rate, so it's a little bit of a risk. But with such a low amount graded so far, I don't know that that's indicative of the card as much as there just haven't been many. But I want you to be aware that if you don't get a 10, you are going to lose about $5 to $10. Welcome in, Bodini. Welcome in, Chansey. All right, we are talking Olympic plays this week. We just covered tennis. Now let's go into some swimming. Actually, you know what? I've got 2 more tennis plays. These 2 tennis players, I do not know. I've never heard of them, but it says you can make money on them, so I'm going to share them with you. Apparently, Novak Djokovic, I'm not sure if I even said that correctly. It's Djokovic. 2007 Ace Authentic straight sets. Apparently, he's the number 1 player in the world right now. But he's getting older, so this is probably his last chance at the Olympics. Raw, this card sells for $38. There have been 37 sales in the last year, so it sells about 3 times a month. A PSA 9 is $51, so you're going to be out about $5. Basically, your eBay fees if it comes back a 9. If it comes back at 10, it's $174, so you're going to 4x your money. It has a 61% gem rate. So this is a card that with a 61% gem rate might be worth a risk. The last one is 2022 SI for Kids, Iga Swiatek, card number 1034 for Sports Illustrated for Kids. IGA SWIATEK. Iga Swiatek. Raw, you can get this SI for Kids card for $4. This card has been graded 62 times by PSA. The average grade is a 7. Half of them are 7s. So that is what I went by. A 7 is a $55 play. So $4 raw, $16 to grade. You're going to have $22 in it. If it comes back a 7, you double your money. If it comes back a 6, there are 12 of the 62 that are 6s. You end up breaking even. It's a $32 card. Less fees, you're going to end up with your $22, $23 back after eBay fees. So a 6, you break even. A 7, you double your money. An 8, which there are also 12 8s. So 12 6s, 12 8s, with the majority being 7s in the middle. If you get an 8, it's a $150 card, and you're going to make, 6x, 7x your money. So that is a play that you could take a look at making some serious money. Now, the SI for Kids are hard if you're finding them already ripped out, because a lot of people don't know how to rip them out. So you do have to kind of watch and make sure that they've got the perforations, not that somebody took a scissors and cut them out, because that's going to be very grade sensitive. Or What I actually did was I was looking for that particular magazine that had the card in it, and buying the whole sheet, and then I can rip it out myself. That's the route I'm going to go, because I just don't know if I trust a single if I find it on eBay for $4. All right. Caleb Dressel, swimmer, United States swimmer. He is going to be hyped up a lot during these Olympics. He took a little bit of time off and came back. He was the king of the pool in the last Olympics. I think he's going to get a lot of airtime. 2019 SI for kids, card number 864. There are only 15 of these cards graded by PSA. Raw, they're $5. In a PSA 5, they're $35. So a PSA 5, you end up making about $5 to $10. In a PSA 8, which there are 7 8s, 2 7 5s, 2 7s, 2 5s, 1 4 5, and 1 3. So I picked the 5 because it's kind of in the middle of the pack, and you could make $5 on it. However, if you get a 7 or higher, you're going to be looking at 4xing your money. So I think there will be demand for Caleb Dressel in this summer's Olympics. Sticking with swimming, Katie Ledecky. Katie Ledecky is one of the most decorated female swimmers of all time. Katie Ledecky has the opportunity to certainly get at least 2 or 3 gold medals at this Olympics. Her SI for kids is 2013, card number 274. Raw, the card sells for $15. There's 284 graded by PSA, 1 authentic, 1 3, 8 4s, 29 5s, 83 6s, 84 7s, 45 8s, 26 9s, and there are 3 PSA 10s. I've never seen a PSA 10 SI for kids card. Somebody must have really done a nice job on getting the perforations and tearing that out. But anyways, PSA 7, which is kind of the middle of the pack on this card, $40. You're going to make a quick $10. A PSA 8 is $120. You're going to 4x your money on a Katie Ledecky Sports Illustrated for Kids card. Switching over to sprinters. Shelly Ann Fraser Price, one of the fastest women on the planet. She was not there. She's going to be retiring after this Olympics. She's one of the most decorated female runners in the United States history. There are only 12 of these cards graded. So again, by going with the Olympics, you're fishing in a pool that is not very big. So if you can get some good grades, there is some money to be made here. 2009 SI for kids, raw sells for $10. Her 2012 SI for kids, raw sells for $3. There are only 12 graded. None of them have ever been sold according to 130 Point or any. I looked at Card Ladder, I looked at Alt. Does not appear as though any of her graded cards have ever been sold. So here's an opportunity to be first to the market and to set the market. Go get a 2009 rookie card, SI Kids, for around $10. Try and get one that looks good, get it graded, and be first to the market. There's an opportunity there to make some money. A lot of talk recently about Caitlin Clark not making the U.S. women's Olympic team. Most of the talk centers around the fact that they are saying Diana Taurasi took her spot. Diana Taurasi's 41 years old. She's about to retire. She's a WNBA legend. She has 5 gold medals already from basketball. That's how many years she's been around. That's how much she's been playing. She has the potential to make a 6th Olympic gold in women's basketball, and that would make her the most decorated team sport athlete in Olympic history from any country. So that's kind of a big deal. And if that happens, I see a lot of publicity, a lot of news time, a lot of Olympics coverage around the fact that she will be the most decorated team athlete of anybody in the history of the Olympics. So I think it's kind of cool that if that is true, that she took Caitlin Clark's spot. It certainly seems like a worthy way to give her the spot over Caitlin would be to go after something like that to where she would be so decorated. The card that we want to go after here is her Fleer Ultra WNBA. It's 2004, card number 91. If you can find the silver version, that's even better yet. But you can also do a base version. The numbers I'm going to quote you here are on the silver. So it's 2004 Fleer Ultra WNBA, card number 91, Diana Taurasi. Raw, this card sells for $290. This is the most expensive play on here. $290 raw. A PSA 7 will get you $275 back, so you're going to lose about $40 on a play if it comes back a 7. It has a 28% gem rate as a 7. A PSA 8, however, takes you all the way to $700 and you double your money on a PSA 8. 34% chance at a PSA 8. Get this, if this card gets a 9, it jumps all the way up to $2,960. You could take a $300 investment and 10x your money on a PSA 9, not a 10, a 9. 12% chance, 25 of the 197 cards graded are a 9, 10x your money. I'm sure it's not going to be easy to find a PSA 9 in an ungraded form from 2004 laying around, but if you're able to find it, that is one that you could 10x your money. A PSA 10 is a pop 4. There have not been any sales of a PSA 10 in the last 2 years. Only 4 cards have ever gotten a 10. The last 10 sold, now this was back in 2022, right after the 2021 high. This card was a $10,000 card. I don't anticipate anybody going out and getting lucky enough to get a 10. But an 8 or a 9, an 8 doubles your money, a 9 10x's your money. This is a play that I think if the U.S. women win gold and she gets her 6th medal, there is going to be a lot of media coverage around that. And I think that that could be a great play for us to make. Welcome in, Fire Dragon. All right. Sticking with female women's basketball. This play is tricky because there aren't any sales on it. It is the 2020 Prism Silver, card number 70 of Breanna Stewart. There are 71 cards graded. 34 of them have gotten PSA 9s, 29 have gotten PSA 10s. None of them have sold in the last 6 months. So there's no data really to go by. However, this card sells raw for $5. It fluctuates. The last several sales were $3, $5, $17, $12, $11, and $4. So $5 to $15 is where you can get this card in raw condition. Send it in and grade it, and you can set the market on it because there aren't any sales out there right now for Breanna Stewart. Before I get to the basketball plays for men's basketball, there's one more that I want to talk about, and that is Simone Biles. Simone Biles, 2016 Topps Olympics and Paralympics team hopeful cards. It's card number 38. It's a base card. This card comes in bronze, silver, and gold because it's an Olympic card. There are 3 parallels that you can go. I did the base because it's the most easy to come by and because it had the best return on investment in terms of gem rates. This card sells for the most recent sale was $11. I bought 4 of these cards. Full disclosure, I paid $15 a piece with shipping. So I got 4 of these cards for $60 shipped to me. I sent them in to PSA. I got 1 9 and I got 3 10s. So I'm ecstatic. The 9 I already sold, and the 3 10s I'm holding on. I'm going to sell as it gets a little bit closer to the Olympics. Raw, $10 to $15. PSA 9, $28. So with the $16 grading fee right now, you can essentially break even on a PSA 9. In a PSA 10, it's $100. So you can 4x your money getting a PSA 10. It's a 52% gem rate. So you got a 50-50 shot at 4xing your money, which is a pretty good. There have been 82 sales of this card in the last 365 days. So what that tells you is that there's about 1 every 4 to 5 days selling on eBay. So if you're careful and you watch for it, you can get it. Not everybody knows that is selling this card that there's a silver, bronze, and gold parallel to it. So watch for the little signia on the card. You might be able to pick up a parallel for the same price as a base. Fire Dragon says that he loves the fact I'm going where they ain't. That's the whole purpose of this episode today, is to just talk about Olympics. Nobody else, none of the content creators I've been watching, nobody's talking about cards to grade for the Olympics. So I thought it'd be fun. It may not be as profitable as some of the other stuff that I've shared with you, but all of these plays that I'm making here today will make money if you get if you can come out and get some good grades. Hey, Logan, welcome in, man. I'm just finishing up. We're talking about going after Olympic cards with the Olympics coming up 6 to 7 weeks away. We're talking about plays that can make you money on Olympics. You came in at just the right time, Logan. I won't bore you with all the others. I'm about to get to basketball, which is your jam. So you might like some of these. All right. There are 5 players that are going to be in this Olympics that I think men's basketball have an opportunity to move the needle. There's more than 5, but I picked out 5. I think Anthony Edwards is one that could get another significant run if he dominates and really takes over and is a leader of this team. But with some of the veterans that are going to be on this team, I think Ant-Man is probably going to take a back seat to some of the more veteran players on the team, which is why I am not going to be doing a play on Ant-Man. All right, the first one is the Joker, Nikola Jokic. The Joker, his cards have been coming down and down and down since they got eliminated from the playoffs. So we are going to take a look at a play that does not require him to win. It does not require Serbia to win. This is just a play that you can make money on. The better he does, the more profits there'll be because you could get a small spike in his cards. And we're going to look at his 2015 Prism base card number 335. Hey, Packers, thanks for joining. We are talking Olympic plays today. I am almost done. I've got 5 plays left. We've got 5 basketball plays for players going to be in the Olympics. So if you want, you can go back and watch the beginning if you're interested in some other non-basketball Olympic plays. So Joker, 2015 Prism base card number 335. Raw, $162, most recent sale, 247 sales in the last year. So the card sells almost once every other day on eBay. 162 bucks. A PSA 8 is $166. So if it gets a PSA 8, you are going to be out your grading fees. But that's only a 12% chance. PSA 9 is $225. So you're going to make about $50 after grading fees, and that is a 53% chance to get a PSA 9. PSA 10 jumps all the way up. Right now, the card is down to $630. I anticipate this card's probably within the next 6 weeks, this card might get down into the mid 500s, but it still gives you an opportunity to 4x your money. And that's a 30.7% gem rate. So that is a play that you can make. And if nothing else, you can hold that card going into next season, especially if you get a 10. Each of the last 3 years, that PSA 10 base has gotten up to over $800 during the season at some point. So this is a play you can make and hold if you don't sell during the Olympics. The next one is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA. He's got a bunch of different plays, and normally I love the silvers or the hollows. Those are my 2 favorite cards to collect and own. However, those 2 plays don't leave you enough room to make money. So we're going to talk about his Prism red, white, and blue card number 184. You can buy this card for $60 in raw condition. 134 sales in the last year, so about 1 every 3 days. And a PSA 9, it's 95 bucks, so you're going to profit about $15 on a PSA 9. It's a 53% chance. A PSA 10 jumps up to $220, so it's a nice 3x your money, and there's a 31% gem rate on that card. This card is down significantly from about 30 to 45 days ago. As they were getting into the playoffs, this card was jumping. So the $220 is pretty close to the bottom of where I see this card going. There again, this is a card that you could hold going into next season and potentially make even more than if he weren't to do something great in the Olympics. But he is going to be playing for the Canadian team. And the Canadian team, if you remember in the World Cup last year, upset the United States team. The Canadian team has a lot of NBA players on it. They are a team to be reckoned with. So if he could somehow go and steal gold or silver, you could see a potential spike in SGA cards. The next one is Steph Curry. Hard to imagine as decorated as Steph Curry is. When you think about it, he's a 4-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA MVP. He's the all-time NBA three-point leader, and he's never been to an Olympics. It's hard to get my head around, but he's never been to an Olympics. So this could be Steph Curry's chance at a gold medal. It's one of the only awards he hasn't won yet. Will it give him a significant bump in his card prices? I'm not so sure that it will, but there's a play here that doesn't matter. And even if you want Steph Curry as a long-term hold, if you don't want to sell during the Olympics, it is his 2009 Topps base. Not the Topps Chrome, the Topps paper base. Card number 321. Raw, this card sells for $356, and it's hard to find a nice copy of this card on eBay. You are probably going to have to go to a card show or to your local card shop, or maybe Facebook to find a nice copy. I've been looking for this card for 2 months on eBay, and I've yet to find one that is worth pulling the trigger on. So this could take a little bit of effort. However, there have been 188 sales of this card in the last year. So about every other day, there is one selling on eBay, just none that fit my criteria for what I'm looking for. Look at the back of the card, with the back being black. The corners and edges are very suspect on these. The front oftentimes looks great if you can. So look for centering on the front, look for the corners and edges on the back for whiting. Too much white, you're not going to get a very good grade. PSA 7, $475. So if you can find one in a PSA 7, that's going to have some whiting on the corners and the edges. You can pick up $100 from raw to PSA 7. The trick is to not get one that's a PSA 6. A PSA 6 will sell for raw price. A PSA 8 jumps up to $580, so you could make a couple $100, 31% chance. A PSA 9 is $970, so you're going to almost 3x your money on a PSA 9. There's a 30% chance of that. If by chance you hit the jackpot and you found a beautiful copy, that PSA 10, that's $4,000, and you could 10x your money, but that is only a 7% chance. And being from 2009, I don't anticipate, unless you're getting a set break or something, that you're going to find any that out in the open that are good enough to get a 10. All right. Victor Wembanyama is going to be playing for France. The France team is actually a pretty solid team. He's going to partner with Rudy Gobert, so they're going to have one of the best defensive front courts in all of basketball at the Olympics. I am staying away right now from the base cards. There are getting to be too many of them, and I anticipate right now they're down to about $130. I would not be surprised if before the next NBA season, if the Prism base cards got below $100 or around $100. So I am going to focus on the silver. Believe it or not, there are 2,500 graded silver cards. That tells you how easy a silver is to come by right now. Raw, $432. Centering is a big deal on here. They are easy to tell if they are centered well. So make sure that if you're buying a silver, you're getting one that looks like it has good centering. There have been 1,300 sales of this card in the last year. So almost 4 silvers per day sell on eBay. So this is not a hard card to come by, but it is expensive at $432. A PSA 9, you're going to lose about $50, 50, maybe even $60 after fees, as a PSA 9 only sells for $391. Why is that? It's because there are 2,500 of them graded, and there's 3 to 4 raws selling every single day. This is a high population, high print card, to where the silvers are almost like base cards in the quantity and volume that they printed. But I'm still going after the silver because the PSA 10 is $917, so you can double your money. But that's not the reason why I picked it. The reason why I picked it, it has a 72% gem rate. So if you can find a well-centered one, you've got a 72% chance of getting a PSA 10. 1,866 of the 2,572 of these have come back PSA 10s. So that's why I picked the Wembanyama silver. All right, the last card we're going to talk about is my boy Giannis. Giannis is not playing. He is playing for his home country in this Olympics. So he is going to be playing for Greece. You've heard me say in the past that I like the NBA Hoops card because it's a good, easy entry level card. It's high population, it's liquid, it sells well. It has been jumping around lately, anywhere from the PSA 10s I've seen as low as $165. I've seen them as high as $250. The most recent sale was yesterday, was one for $238 on a PSA 10 base. I'm telling you to go after the red back. The red back only has a population of 214 PSA 10s. There's only 382 of them graded, compared to a pop count of 2,669 PSA 10 base NBA hoop cards. It's 10 times more rare, and the PSA 10 only sells for $252 versus the last sale of a base at $232. For $30 or even $50 more on a card that's 10 times more rare, why would you spend the money on the base? This is a card I believe you can go buy the PSA 10 right now if you can get it in that $250 price range and just sit on it. You're going to make money on this card. $252 is the lowest this card has been since 2018. Most of these prices are going back to 2020, right before the boom. This one, the last time this redback PSA 10 was down to $252 was 2018. So this is a steal right now if you can get this around comps. Raw is $104. PSA 9 is $100. So you're going to be out your grading fees if you end up getting a PSA 9 and you try and grade them. The PSA 10 is $252, so you're going to double your money. There is a 57% chance of a PSA 10. So the play, you can make the raw to grade play, or you can just go buy the graded PSA 10s for $252 and go that route. All right, those are my Olympic plays that you can try and go and make. I did it today because with about 6 to 7 weeks left before the Olympics are here, you have about a week to 10 days to go out and find these cards and get them off to PSA and still get them back in time for the Olympics if you do the grade raw to grade plays. I wanted to make sure that you guys had time to do that and to get them back. I would love to hear if anybody does any of these plays, how you do. I am going to try and do about a half a dozen of these plays. Like I said, I've already done the Simone Biles play, and that worked out very, very well for me. So going to do a few more. It's just a little something fun to do. Gets you a little bit more interested in the Olympics and how the United States players are doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.